Hello, welcome back to my garden. Today we're here in the veg garden and we're going to plant something because I want to plant something because I haven't planted anything in a while and I'm really sort of anxious to plant something. If you've been following the channel for a while, grew a bunch of stuff from seed early in the year and planted that all out throughout the garden, and what I have really left on the bench is just odds and ends and nothing that, like a tomato cutting here, which I may or may not put into the ground. I have to see how the other two cuttings did. And there's a couple of dahlias here, which I'm not going to plant now because it's far too hot. It honestly is just far too hot right now. Maybe in September if it starts to cool down enough, or maybe I'll just leave them in their pots, overwinter them in the greenhouse, and then plant them out next year. The tubers are actually getting bigger in the pot, which is always what you want when you're growing dahlias. Woo. But I need something I can plant now that I think will hold up to the heat and the humidity and will thrive quickly, maybe. We'll see. And I'm also looking to do a quick video because, again, it's far too hot out. And I did mention that over the weekend and probably this week and next week, I'll be working on cleaning up everything. The vegetable garden got the zinnias in the vegetable garden in particular got beat up pretty bad last week when we had a thunderstorm that rolled through and we had some high winds associated with that, and that really messed up the zinnias. And I've been in the process of cleaning them up, deadheading, repropping everything up, getting it to look nicer, and this way they can hopefully last until the end of the year. I finally finished mowing the grass here in the veg garden, although by the end of the week I'll probably have to mow again. But I have to mow all the rest of the grass on the rest of the property here, the 2 acres that I have, and that's going to take a day or two. Especially if I do edging. Again, that takes time, so I want to get on that today as well. So today we're going to be doing a shorter video of me just planting a thing. But what thing is that? Well, earlier this year I purchased these two plants. This is dappled willow, Hakuru nishi. I can't pronounce the Japanese. I do apologize. My English is not all that good. My Japanese is even worse. But it's something that I've been kind of wanting to grow, and you apparently can grow this as a shrub. You can grow this as a tree. It allegedly, I've seen anywhere from, this says it will get 5 feet tall. I've seen actually taller, some places listed. But before I started planting this, one of the rumors or things I'd heard about willows is that you can take cuttings from them real easy, just stick them in the ground, and they take root like that, and they just go. Well, I tried that. Put 2 cuttings into a pot and I got one that took off and it's actually branching right now. It's going for it, which is pretty cool. Letting this grow on today. But I've got these other 2 which have been sitting in a pot for at least 6 months. But unfortunately I've heard also that the deer like to eat the willow. I don't know how true this is because I get conflicting information depending upon which site I look at. I'm going to think yes because of the softer leaves, but maybe not so much because it's a Japanese hybrid willow. Not sure. But what we are going to do today is we're going to plant one of these. And I think we're going to plant this one. So we're going to put that one back. And let me show you where we're going to plant it. Right back here, we're at the back of the veg garden here, and I have a couple of saw horses, some wire it looks like, and this space right here is no good, no bueno, not good. Next to it I have a wax myrtle. Grows like a weed. I've already pruned it once this year. It needs to be pruned again, maybe even a 3rd time before winter if I want to keep it nice and tidy. And then right next to this bed, right here at this bed, is a mess and a failure. We'll talk about it another time. But this space right here is sort of blank, and I do want a hedge back here, hence the reason the wax myrtle's here. It just started coming up naturally, and I just let it go. Deer don't bother it. The wildlife seems to like it. It's all natural to the area. Whew, do apologize, I am sweating already. But there's this gap right here and I don't like the gap. So if this is a plant the deer will eat, why not keep it within the fenced boundaries of the vegetable garden and put it here. Let it grow maybe as a shrub, maybe as a tree. I haven't made up my mind yet. But definitely plant it here. Let me pull you guys in closer and show you what's cooking here. If you hear any noises in the background, it's the trash man. He's rolling through now. But aside from these sawhorses here, I threw some cardboard on the ground for whatever reason. I think I was trying to smother some weeds, but I have some dewberry crawling over the top, and dewberry's a weed down here. It's a very thorny vine. It's terrible. And then I have some scrap wire. So I want to clean all this up, and I want to get this willow in the ground now as opposed to continuing to suffer in the pot. Normally you would plant trees or shrubs in the fall, not the heat of the summer, but we're expecting more rain. We've gotten quite a bit of rain, and the forecast, the long-term forecast for this area is going to be fairly damp. They're saying we're going to get a higher chance than normal of rain. And the back part of the vegetable garden here is generally wetter than the front part because it's slightly lower. And when we do get those heavy torrential downpours, water tends to flood this back area more so. And there's another reason for planting the willow. From my understanding, willows appreciate moister, wetter soil. So why not plant it here? But first we have to clean this up. So let's do that now. Now I do have this layer of cardboard here, and it is rotting away pretty quickly. I think what I'm going to do is we're just going to pull some of this back. This is pretty thick. That's why it's not fully rotted away. We can reuse it. Just do that. There we go. So do that. And then underneath we have some actually pretty nice soil. I'm not going to dig down too deep. But what we are going to do is a bit of the, oh, there's fire ants. It's always fire ants, always fire ants. One of the reasons why I wear gloves. What we're going to do though is get rid of this grass here. Just throw some compost down and plant into that, a la no dig. Pop this out. Not too root bound, lovely. And I want to put it right about here-ish. There we go. Drop that in. All right, give it a bit of water. And mulch. So a lot of that cardboard, as you saw, I left. I just covered it over with some bagged compost. This is raised up off the ground, but I guarantee you by next year, it'll almost be at ground level because the compost will all be breaking down continuously. Hopefully this plant does quite well. The compost was very wet and the ground's still very wet, and I just watered it in to help the soil settle in around the roots. So hopefully over the next few months, this really gets a good rooting in. And then it'll survive the winter, hopefully. And next year, it flourishes yet even more. Even in the pot, this willow was putting on growth. And I suspect if I did a little more pruning on this, which I may come back and do, trim back these little branches just a little bit more, it may throw up more fresh shoots. But I'm not sure, again, if I want this in a tree form or if I want this in a shrub form. I'm thinking shrub, but you guys let me know what you think in the comments below. It actually feels good to plant something in the ground right now, other than seeds. I'm pretty happy with that. I think it's gonna do well there. I think even right now with the heat and humidity, I think it's gonna do well. They have not really been suffering on the bench. And as you can see, they're in black pots. They're getting full sun pretty much the whole day. And as long as they get water, they seem to be okay. And even this little cutting, as I mentioned a moment ago, is just really, it's taken off. I am thinking about attempting, maybe, possibly, to plant one of these out into the garden someplace. I'm thinking out into the orchard area, maybe. But I am worried about the deer. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit more homework, see if maybe I can grow these into a tree form. And would that be, if the plant is higher or has a higher canopy, we would be more resistant to the deer. They seem to grow very fast. This was, oh, this is just a little cutting that I put in here. And it's already got, what, 2 inches of new growth on that branch, several other, I mean, this was basically just a stick. So this was just a stick, and as you can see, it's put on quite a bit of growth. And that's just in a pot. I can only imagine what it would do if it was actually in the ground. If you guys have willow or grow willow or have any questions about the willow I've grown today, please leave those comments below. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, click that bell icon to be notified when I do post a new video. This way you can follow along with whatever antics I have going on. Hopefully there'll be something a bit more interesting that I'll be doing later in the week when it's a tad more cooler. With all that being said, I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.